Let's go to the commissioner and see what happens.
With the 5th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins select Tua Tagovailoa, quarterback, Alabama.
Well, there it is, which means for the first time since Kellen Moore, who is now the Cowboys' offensive coordinator, threw a pass, we're going to have a left-hander who's going to throw a pass in the NFL, provided, of course, that Tua is healthy and ready to go when the season starts. But it's not just about the fractured hip and the dislocated hip. As you can see, Tua has dealt with a lot of injuries over his time at Alabama. A sprained knee, a left quad, a left ankle, a broken index finger. He's had spiral surgeries on both of his ankles, and then of 19 on this play against Mississippi State, the dislocation and the fracture of the hip that sent Tua's draft status into doubt. But I guess the medicals came back as clean as everybody was saying they were going to be. Kurt Warner, you see him going through that, 9-minute and 20-second workout that he sent out to all the teams. Kurt, I guess the Dolphins liked what they saw.
Well, no question about it. It's interesting, Trey, that when he suffered this injury, a lot of people going into the draft thought, well, he's going to have a redshirt year anyways. Even if we draft him, we're going to sit him for a year. I think when people saw that workout, they said to themselves, well, maybe not. He looks really good. He looks explosive. Those are things that he was built on in college. The quickness of his feet, the ability to redirect his feet, to buy time in the pocket. I think we all loved what we saw in that video. But, Mel, it's still a big question. What will Miami do with him? Will they try to rush him onto the field, or will they give him a year to get healthy?
Yeah, Kurt, I really believe he needs the medically redshirt, let that body heal. But he's got to be more aware in the pocket and obviously stay away from trouble. He's got tremendous feel for throwing the football. Goes through progression, so anticipatory a thrower. And the thing about him is he's not accurate. He's precise. He's a dart thrower. So I said what all said. Left-handed Drew Brees. They had passed on Drew Brees because of an injury. Now Nick Saban's quarterback, Tua, injured. They don't pass on him. They take him. Now I think they got to sit him for a year, build that offensive line up, and get ready for 2021.
And Mel, it's interesting when you look at this division now. Tom Brady no longer there. It is wide open. The Bills got their quarterback with Josh Allen. The Jets have their quarterback in Sam Darnold. And now the Miami Dolphins have their young quarterback to build the rest of their roster around. There was a lot of talk about them potentially taking a tackle here. But you don't move on from an all-pro tackle and all-pro safety so you can go out and take more tackles and safeties. You did all of that so you could continue to build this program. It starts with the quarterback. That's where they went.
Lewis, what do you think?
With Tua Tagovailoa, I mean, there's just so many things to like, Trey, about him. And I'm glad that they wound up feeling comfortable taking him because he has that really transferred very well to the NFL. And just take a look at him. First and foremost, the touch on the deep ball that we talked about earlier, looking off the middle of the field, safety, and then just throwing an absolute beautiful touch pass down the sideline to Devontae Smith for the touchdown. And you see Steve Young, again, we saw this earlier, but look, he throws the absolute perfect ball to Jerry Rice there in the corner of the end zone. But don't underestimate Tua's arm. He can throw the ball with velocity here on the RPO, just throwing the dart on the quick slant over the middle of the field. Mark Brunell, again, a left-hander who could throw the ball the same way. Here throwing it to one of the best wide receivers in the NFL at the time, Jimmy Smith. And then throwing on the move. I think this right here is beautiful. Step up in the pocket, escape to the left, and throw the sail route to Jerry Jeudy there on the sideline. Nobody was better at doing that than Steve Young, who was one of the best athletes to ever play quarterback in the NFL, and Mark Brunell. So these two guys, I mean, look, they hit a home run right here. I'm glad they wound up taking him.
All right, Lewis, thanks very much. So, again, left-handers, here's what we're talking about. Boomer Esiason leads the way with most left-handed touchdowns. But the legend of Tua is a real thing. Lane Kiffin, when he was with Bama, went out there to scout him. And as soon as he saw the kid play, he said, I found the next Steve Young. He threw a, as a 13-year-old, he got into a live practice, and his first throw for his high school team was a 70-yard touchdown. For more on this, let's go back to one of our insiders, Chris Mortensen. Hey, Mort.
Hey, Trey, yes, and it was the Dolphins, as we mentioned in an earlier show, who were able to choose the independent doctor, hip specialist, who did the medical recheck on Tua recently, and that was Dr. Thomas Hyde in Nashville, Tennessee, where Tua was working out and rehabbing. And he said, and he told our medical analyst, Stefania Bellis, that his CT scans were pristine on the hips and as good as he's seen as anybody who's had this trauma. And I will say this, I think Nick Saban's words, not just about Tua, but about what they happened to Drew Brees when they failed him on a physical when Saban was the coach of Miami, I think it resonated with owner Stephen Ross, and there's no question the owner, Stephen Ross, had to sign off on this.
Yeah, absolutely. We heard there might have been a split. Some in the organization like Justin Herbert out of Oregon, but at the end, Tua Tagovailoa, the talent was too much to pass up. So now that leads us to